Greetings from the swamps, I'm Andy, and today I bring you Beast Wars Tm2 Ramulus. His bio states that he was one of the protoforms circling the Earth, and when he fell and became Tm2 Ramulus, that he was neither a Predacon or Maximal. He'd rather hang out with his fellow Ibexes in the wilderness. That kind of reminds me of Tigertron's character, where he would come help the Maximals sometimes, and then retreat back to live on his own. Such a loner. His subgroup is the Wreckers. These aren't the Wreckers that I'm used of. The Wreckers I'm used of is more like G1 Topspin and this guy right here, Whirl. He was never featured in the TV show, but apparently he was pretty predominant in the comic series, where he was a Maximal through and through, very unlike his bio card for the toy itself. Now with the Transmetals and the Transmetal 2s, you have the good, the bad, and the ugly. And Ramulus here kind of fits into all three categories. Ramulus has this nice red metal finish to him, and as a Transmetal 2, of course he's very asymmetrical. He's got the organic and mechanical parts spread all throughout him. You know, it looks really nice on this figure. That's one of the redeeming qualities about him. Some of the drawbacks on him are the obnoxiously big feet, the tail poking out the back, and the ridiculous kibble hanging off from him. You know, you kind of expect that from Beast Wars, but with him, it's a little too much for my taste. One of the big pluses about him, however, is his face sculpt. He has a really, really nice face sculpt. And his articulation. I mean, his arms can move every which way. It's got a ball joint so it can go around. It's kind of hindered by the kibble, like I said, but it could do a full 360 if you really tried. It's got this little joint right here to move it side to side. Elbow. The only thing it's missing from the arms is a wrist. The legs have this nice little joint right here and right there at the knee. And they can also do a full 360 if you wanted to. No waist articulation, and the head can do a full 360 around. His weapon is called a double slag maker, and it's actually pretty neat. The detail in it's really cool. I wish they would have painted it a little better to pick out the details, though. It's got of course it's Transmetal 2, so it's very asymmetrical. This side's got the little sharp point with the bridge to break it up. This one doesn't. It's just very fluent, more natural. It's actually got color on the underside, which you don't really see unless you flip them up like so. And he actually doesn't look too bad holding it. I mean, he kind of looks like a throwback to Skeletor with his staff. That's what it reminds me of, at least. And it's got this little feature right here that when you push this back. Now for the transformation. This alt mode is actually pretty nice. I mean, it's very powerful looking. Very menacing with big horns coming down, this red metal they chose, and this face. I mean, that face is awesome. And due to a neat little bit of transformation, the robot's head actually has a feature in this mode where the horns stick out through the slag maker cannon, and looks pretty cool. It's very, very Transmetal. And they put his Maximal symbol in a really neat little place. If you look at the face head on, when you fold this down, it reveals his Maximal symbol. Again, with the symmetry, you know, he's got the little green specks right here, where on this side he doesn't. And on this side he's got these little ridges coming out, very mechanical, as this side is very smooth and organic. And there's very little kibble. You know, you can see his hands if you look this way, but other than that, it's not too bad. There are worse ones out there. I mean, it's a weird-looking robot that turns into a weird-looking ram. What do you expect? It's a robot with hoofs. All in all, I'd say for Transmetal 2, he's average. He's not that horrible, and he's not that great either. I would have to say if you're going to get into Transmetal 2s and you don't have any, this is not the one to start off with.